Welcome to Table for Two. Imagine sitting down for a coffee date with a friend who totally gets the balancing act of motherhood, running a business, and chasing your dreams. That's what this podcast is all about. I'm Victoria, a mom of three, marketing expert with over 10 years of experience, and a business owner. And I'm here for honest, real conversations about life, business, and everything in between. Whether you're just starting your first venture or building your empire, each episode is packed with relatable stories, actionable tips, and the support you need to juggle it all. So pull up a chair, grab your coffee or wine, I won't judge, and let's dive into the things that really matter. It's time for a little Table for Two. Hello, and welcome back to episode 3 of Table for Two. I am seriously so happy you're here. If you're here on YouTube or social media, you'll see that my backdrop is a little bit different. I before was in my office, just sitting at my desk, which I really liked, but the lighting wasn't that great. And for repurposing purposes, I want to be able to have a space that looks really nice all the time and is pretty consistent with with me and my branding, my personal brand. And so I am in the corner of my living room right now. I have these big windows that always bring in the best light. And so it's like, why would I not take advantage of this natural light that I always have versus trying to, put up some, ring light or something like that. I am not good with lighting. Like, I have zero idea what I'm doing there. So this is, to me, is like the easier way to go. So yeah, I'm really excited about this setup. I do need to figure something out with my microphone because I'm holding it right now. So I'm not 100% sure. I did a test and it sounded pretty decent, but I want to have somewhere where I can use both my hands because I use my hands when I talk. So I want to make sure I can use my hands. Okay, wonderful. So I do want to have a little segment each time because we are, the theme of this is Table for Two. So I want to make sure that I go over every single time kind of like what I'm drinking. So right today I am doing a vanilla latte. I put some Chobani vanilla creamer in my milk when I frothed it with my espresso. And so it makes it into a little vanilla latte. I do this a lot and I buy all those different Chobani creamers. So the cookies or the cookie dough, not cookies and cream. Cookies and cream would be really good. But cookie dough, they have a peppermint mocha one. That one's so good. That one's my absolute favorite. So when that's in season, I try to buy it as much as possible. And then I'll make little lattes from it. And I'm obsessed. They're so good. But I'm also have really been into teas. So I've never liked tea. I am straight up coffee drinker. I have a couple cups of coffee a day, and if not, add a latte in there. But teas have never been my thing until I think Thanksgiving to literally last week. This is in January when I'm recording this. My family and I have been back to back sick. We had different viruses, just been nonstop sick. And one of my coworkers at my 9 to 5 currently, she has this she's just the cutest. She has a little pharmacy essentially at her desk. She has ginger drops. She has all these different teas. And so I just kind of come to her and I'm like, this is how I'm feeling. Give me all the things. So she gave me this tea and I can't pronounce it. I should have tried to figure out how to pronounce it before the podcast, but it is basically an immune support tea, and it is seriously so good. I add some lemon juice to it, and then a little bit of honey, and she also told me, so I'm from Michigan, Wisconsin border, and so she said if you use honey that is local to your area, it will have natural allergen protection. I'm not, don't quote me on how to say that, but the honey will protect you from other allergies basically from your area, which I don't know how true that is, but I think that was a really cool thing. And my father-in-law works at he delivers for a farm that distributes to all different cute little stores throughout Wisconsin and Michigan. And within his little things that he gives us is a Wisconsin made honey. And so long story short, I put that in my honey. In the mornings, I've been really loving doing that versus having a cup of coffee. Then, trust me, I still drink my coffee throughout the day. But then also at night, I'd been drinking a spearmint tea, and it's really calming. It feels like, I just feel cool drinking my tea at night. But also it just like helps like supposed to help like aid digestion and kind of calm your body before bed. So I've been really liking those and actually truly liking the taste of it. So I don't know if you don't like tea now and you're like in your 20s, turn 30 and then maybe you'll like tea. I don't know. That's what I've experienced. I'm loving it. But yeah, so that is what I'm drinking. I had a very eventful morning. I went and had a mini brand shoot with one of my clients. One of my brand and web design clients. I helped her develop her brand. She's a photographer. She's had it for 15 plus years, but she also is doing coaching. So I helped her with her brand and website for her new coaching business that she's doing. So that's really exciting. But I went and did a little mini brand session with her. We took pictures with my microphone for my podcast, with like my iPad for drawing and my computer, and it's just like super cute. So I'm so excited. That was just like literally a couple hours ago, but she showed me some of the of course, while we're shooting, kind of show me the camera and show me behind the scenes of it, and they look really cute. So I'm so excited to have some like legit professional photos. My other brand photos that I've been using have been like a friend who's a photographer, is great at what she does. She does more like lifestyle type of stuff. So she does branding as well, but she comes like into your house, or like she doesn't have a studio space. And so everything has been just kind of at my house, and which I do love those photos. My kids are in some of them, and it's perfect for like my website, but I did want some of just like me being a little bit more professional looking and having that for, my website and for branding and for social media and such. If you have never invested in a brand photographer and you are a business owner, I think that that's really huge. I don't think it's 100% like necessary right when you start. I think it's awesome to get some nice photos of you, maybe have a friend help out, and then invest in like a good quality session with someone who's going to like get everything, gather all your ideas. Make sure you take behind the scenes stuff. I did that. I propped my phone up with my tripod and just took some like behind the scene of me moving around and stuff, so that you can also then use that for like social media purposes, like B-roll. And if you don't know what B-roll is, it's just like you moving in the background while there's like you're talking over the screen or you have text on the screen, so that you have options and that they're still branded to you. So I would definitely, if you haven't already, or if you need to do like a rebrand, definitely think about hiring a brand photographer, because it will change the vibe and your professionalism as a business owner. Wonderful. So I am so excited to see those. But today's episode, I wanted to sit down. I had my first episode that kind of introduced the podcast and the purpose. But then my second episode was with Chelsea, one of my clients. We talked through her like coaching business and motherhood and balancing it all and mindset, a lot of mindset stuff. Really good conversation. Love her. So I really appreciate having like my first guest. But today's I wanted it to be a little bit more about like what I offer as a business owner and expertise within this industry of brand and web design. So with that being said, I want today's episode to be all about my favorite thing with building websites is the user experience. And you see that UX design, right? I like to think about it really more so and the way I'm, I guess, talking about it today is more about like the customer journey. How do we build a website together that is going to be built for your specific customer? You hear all these different, your dream client, whoever's coming to you, you need to ensure that you're building a website that is truly going to help navigate them from the moment that they click onto your website into whatever it is, that call of action, that action that you want them to take. So, how does someone feel when they navigate your website? Is it, all like even those little things, like, is it loading quickly? Are you guiding them from the homepage to maybe the checkout or like a contact page seamlessly? So, as a mom and a business owner, you want to ensure that we know that time is precious, and same goes for our websites and that visitor. Like that time it doesn't even have to be for moms. We understand that as moms, right? That people they need things quickly, and we want to be able to give that to them quickly. They want to make sure that they don't need to scroll to the bottom of the page in order to have their first call to action. So making sure that when you're auditing your website, if you have one currently, making sure that it's loading fast, it's intuitive, and that the person is getting to the goal of why you want them to be there anyway. I think that that's one of the most important pieces of, building a website. It's, of course, the part of visually how it looks. That's huge to both, not only me, but my client. That's like the most exciting part, right? Is, oh my God, it looks so good. Okay, it looks good, wonderful, but is it going to actually do the job? That's the most important part. Yes, visual piece is, of course, very important too. We're all visual people, especially if we're in like a creative field and we're trying to get other creatives in. The visual piece is really important, but having them make sure that it's a seamless, almost like buying journey for them is equally as important, if not more important. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. Because I've experienced this already with a couple of my clients where we were working through the pages, and I asked questions like, okay, you want them to, what do you want them to do once they come to the homepage? Like, where are we navigating to? What are those call to actions? I've had actually the last few clients where we had to work through potentially some like other, and I'll get into this a little bit in a bit, but some external vendors, or not external vendors, but subscriptions that they might need. So for example, like Dubsado, Honeybook, Flowdesk, all of these different other platforms that they might need to also have, or if it's Shopify or something like that, depending on what their business is. So making sure that when you are building your website, that you are really, that's like the number one thing that you should think about first, is the client's journey. And when I work with my clients to design their websites, that is one of the first questions that I ask. What do you want your customer journey to look like? We dig deep into the ideal client. I provide a brand questionnaire for both the branding along with the website, to think through those things, like who are your ideal clients? How do you want them to navigate your website? Should the home page guide them directly to booking a link, or do you want them to look at your services? Do you want them to book a discovery call with you? Do you want to skip over a discovery call and go straight into bookings? Where are you at in your business, and how do you want your potential clients to work with you? How do you want them to feel? How do you want them to kind of go through? So think about it kind of like as a sales funnel. It's definitely part of that. They come to you through social media. Okay. They meet you on Instagram. They love your vibe. They love the content that you're putting out. They're like, you know what? I want to work with this person. I find them intriguing. I kind of want to understand a little bit more about what they have to offer. So then they click on the link on your bio and they go directly to your website, and say your website is just a book with me now page. Okay, well, they didn't get to learn about exactly what you have to offer because you just are asking them right away to book with you. One, that's probably going to like rub people the wrong way. And two, it's not going to answer questions that they might have, because on social media, there's only so much, unless you're being super salesy with your content, which most people aren't these days. And most people also aren't going to react well to like super salesy content. But if they go there, they had questions, they wanted to learn more. That's why they clicked on the link on your bio. And for you then to just say, okay, book with me. Okay, but what am I booking with you? Right? Like I want some questions answered. I want to know exactly how you serve me, especially when you're making like those larger investments. And that booking page can't be really not too far off from them landing on the website. But let's kind of work through, what are those questions that our ideal client is going to ask? How are they going to navigate? What's the best way to, really piece by piece figure out what you want that customer journey to look like? Do you want them to land on your homepage and your header be something that answers a question that they might have? Like, I am a brand photographer who works with female entrepreneurs to get their businesses up and running. Just, made that up off the top of my head, but it's very specific. And not that we would word it that way, but you know what I mean? Like being very specific about what you do, who you serve, and what you do for that person. And then what is that call to action that do you want to have buttons? Do you want to have one button? Do you want to have two buttons? Do you want to have one button that says work with me and one button that says book now? You can give them options too, depending on if they're ready or not. It just really truly depends on you, your business, and really making sure that you understand who your client is and your dream audience. And so that's another thing that I guess this episode's a lot about is really, understanding your audience is the most important thing for not only your website, but for your social media content, building out brand copy, etc., all of the things, but also really understanding that client journey and what you want them to do and how you want them to get to you. So if you currently have a website and you're auditing it, just look through and pretend to be somebody else. Pretend to be not you. You don't know anything about your business. You're going there and you saw something on your Instagram, that person's Instagram, and you're like, okay, I know I want to work with them. Now what? Answer those questions. Now what? Okay, I'm going through. I click on the link. Oh, it's broken. Crap. Okay, well, I don't want to work with that person. So you're auditing, fix that broken link, or have your web designer fix that broken link. Or making sure you go there and you're answering questions that you think that your ideal customer should have. Are you answering that? Are you solving problems throughout by answering those questions that they may have? And then making sure that they're going to the specific place that you really want them to go. Some of those things that you can really, really focus on when you're auditing your own website, those key elements that you want to make up is navigation, of course. We kind of just dragged on about that, making sure that you're helping the visitors get to where they need to go without any confusion. Like, it should feel like this is a very seamless landing page, services page, booking page. Okay. Make it very clear and very quick if that's where you want to go. You don't want to be like dragging them all over the website. But also another thing is, how does your mobile design look? It's so hard for me. I love building websites and I always build the desktop version first. I use Showit, and so Showit for me, well, also I've used Squarespace and WordPress too, and I've done it this way with those websites, but always building it how it looks on the desktop first, because it's kind of like setting the stage, setting the tone, and then developing and manipulating the mobile version of that to kind of reflect the desktop. But the mobile is over half of your web traffic, no, honestly, there's no unlesses. It's going to be over half of web traffic these days is coming in from the mobile side. So making sure that your links work on your mobile, making sure that there's nothing overlapping or looking funky, right? You want it to be super mobile friendly. You can remove things that aren't maybe as necessary on the mobile than on the desktop. That's what I love about Showit specifically, is that you have the ability to like turn things off for mobile. So if like you have a really busy homepage and then it just doesn't look right on your mobile side, you can like turn off different features that are like maybe too many elements or something like that. You can really kind of like tailor the web version of your website to be, very mobile friendly, not only design wise, but like navigation wise, than like the desktop version. So make sure that you look at both when you're looking and you're auditing. Fast loading times. Some of those things that will, if your website is taking forever to populate, make sure that you're using lower resolution photos. When you have like that brand photographer session, they should provide you with high resolution photos and then also low resolution photos. But there are so many different resources out there. I'm trying to think of the name of, oh my gosh, let me pull it up because I know, I think it's like Tiny PNG or something like that. Yeah, there's a Tiny PNG. I think there's like a PNG and a JPEG version of it, depending on what kind of file format you receive. But there are a lot of free compressing websites out there that you can just like load in a couple photos at a time. It'll spit out the compressed version, and those are the ones that you should be using on your website, because obviously they're lower resolution, so they're going to take less time for your website to like pull them up, resulting in a faster load time. There's a lot of other components as well, some back-end issues that you might need to look into, but definitely like for you auditing, look at how big any of the like elements on your website are, like the photos, if there's video, if you have any like cute little animations, just making sure that they're relatively low in size. And let's see, I don't have off the top of my head. Low resolution, size. I mean, you can Google this as well. I don't have it off the top of my head because I always just do it for websites. I'm the worst at Googling things. My husband would tell you that I'm terrible. Okay, 32 bytes. So, let's see, a small packet size used. Yeah. Honestly, like when you just put them into like a tinypng.com or anything like that, they're gonna pull in the lowest resolution for you because they know that's what it's there for. That's the intent. Okay, but again, just having like really clear call to actions, guiding them to either like book now, buy the product, being very specific about what you want that action to be. So for example, like you wouldn't want your header to say something like book a call with me, but then it goes to like your services page and nowhere on there is there even like a booking call. Like that doesn't, make sense. Or like work with me. Work with me can be looked at in so many different ways. It can be interpreted so many different ways. So making sure that whenever you do say work with me, you're being consistent about where you're bringing them. If that work with me means like booking, that's like a booking thing, but I've seen it out there, work with me, and then it's like a brings you to like a totally different page where I'm like, okay, well, I want to work with you. I'm telling you I want to work with you. I want to use that call to action, and just making sure that you're really being very clear about what those call to actions are. And then of course, just like design basics is the eye moves, left to right when reading. Very like simple design, having it clean, having white space. White space to me is like, as I'm surrounded by white behind me, I love white, as you can see, with like pops of color. It just depends on kind of like what your vibe is, but just not being afraid of white space, meaning not having a bunch of like busyness around it so that it can be like distracting to the eye, and like the actual message that you're trying to get. So definitely clean design, not being afraid of white space, and then having some like really bold headlines, being very specific about keeping, the headlines and like the copy that goes under it and your buttons all like very similar so that people are very aware, okay, that's a call out. That is, a big headline wants to speak directly to me. There's a little bit of copy, and now I know what my call to action is. Like, it's very intuitive when it comes to like the layout. They don't always have to look exactly the same, but like being the same, like at least they look similar so that people can get the best out of it and truly understand like where they're going within your website. Okay, I'm just looking at my notes. Okay, some things to avoid for sure is, again, overcomplicating that. Sometimes, and this is very much me, I did have a client that really liked busy stuff. And so for her, that was her approach. I definitely like gave my feedback in terms of like, hey, sometimes, less is more, sometimes it's less distracting. It's not always about what you love, it's about what your clients love and like how they're gonna react to the content that they're taking in. So definitely having like less clutter around, especially when there's like copy involved, but just trying to keep it a little more digestible when it comes to the design. And then of course, just like ultimately forgetting the mobile side of everything, tablet side, like you can take a little bit more time and make sure that those are set up in a way that's fitting for someone who's using either like a phone or a tablet. And then this is a good one. One thing that I do is add in to all of the pictures, I describe what it is. That's being ADA compliant. I worked at my first job was interning at a bank, and we had to be compliant with people with disabilities. And so I really got in the habit there when I was creating content for their website to ensure that I'm like describing what the image looks like, for an example. Like it could be me on my computer, like if it's a picture of me on my header, or computer with computer with web design services, being very specific about like what the picture is or like what you want them to like visualize when they're looking at the picture, because it's for someone with a disability who can't see. They could be partially blind, they could be legally blind, but there is the ability to like hover over a picture for them and then have it either written, said out loud what they're looking at. So making sure that you're being compliant for some of those people with disabilities. And then, of course, just skipping the customer journey, really not thinking it through, really just building out your website just because you like the visual piece of it. and just like ignoring that customer journey. Like there's no point in having a website. Then you're just gonna like push, if anything, push people away because you're like not thinking about it. So yeah, test your website, make it simple, make sure that you are it looks very mobile friendly. Ask for feedback. Send your website to someone, especially someone who would be an ideal client of yours. Maybe it's an old client that you worked with like a couple years ago or like a year ago and you've made some upgrades and you're like, hey, I want to make sure that this is like speaking to you. So do you mind like going through my website and giving me some of your honest opinions, honest feedback? And then also sending it to someone who doesn't know anything about your business and like make sure that they can understand what they're looking at. Especially like if you do something that's a little bit more broad and doesn't have like a very specific person, like make sure you're avoiding like jargon. You hear that a lot, right? Like you want to make sure that you're not using words that only someone like within your industry would know. Like I would never be like throwing UX, user design, like different like web terminology at you when I'm trying to get you to work with me because you don't know what that means until we start working together. Maybe I give you some like explanation if necessary, but like I'm not trying to sell to another web designer. I'm trying to sell to a salon owner who doesn't give a flying shit about the jargon of a web designer. They just know that they want a beautiful website that is going to help them bring more clients into their salon. So asking for that feedback, sending it to someone that knows nothing about you, your industry, and so that they can be able to go through and say, yeah, no, like I totally understood what you were trying to sell. Or they would come back and be like, dude, I have no clue what you're talking about. Like you need to change all of this copy, right? Hopefully that's not the case, but you never know. Just getting that second person's opinion from both like an ideal customer if possible, but then also from someone who can give you honest feedback about not knowing anything about your industry. Okay, I think I'm trying to keep these episodes to about 30 minutes. This one is at 30 minutes, so kudos to me for keeping it at that 30-minute mark because I am just a yapper. Thanks for joining me on today's episode. I hope I gave you some clarity on user experience, really thinking through the client journey, thinking a little bit more beyond just design, and really keeping some different things in mind that are really going to like enhance that customer journey with you, and hopefully then it can help book out you, or not book out you. Hopefully it can help get you a little bit further with your clients than you already currently are. Anything that I can do to help. So, yep, thanks for pulling up a chair for a table for two, and I will catch you next time.